The little girl opened the cupboard. Nothing. She opened another one. Empty. Around her were things her grandparents could never have imagined owning. A polished stove, glass lamps, painted plates, even a mechanical bird that moved when he turned its key. But there was nothing to eat. Outside, people were dragging old furniture into the street. Check the road again. I did, it's gone. The merchants have to come back. The girl walked to the window. Beyond the beautiful houses stood a strange mountain, but it wasn't made of earth or stone. It was made of things the villagers had thrown away. Broken chairs, old shoes, cooking pots, tools, clothes, and toys. Thousands of things they once thought they no longer needed. Now people were climbing over that mountain, desperately searching for anything they could still use. 3 years earlier, they would have been ashamed to touch those things. Back then, they thought they had finally discovered prosperity. They were wrong. Before the road came, the village rarely threw anything away. A torn coat went to Clara the seamstress. Worn shoes went to Ben the cobbler. Bent farming tools went to the blacksmith. And almost everything else eventually reached Rowan. At 28, Rowan could repair almost anything. One afternoon, an old man brought him a cracked wooden bowl. My grandfather ate from this. Rowan carefully joined the broken pieces, worked glue into the crack, then tied the bowl tightly while it dried. The old man smiled. Good as new. Rowan looked at the faded wood. Still old. The old man laughed. Rowan didn't. His father had repaired things in this same workshop. So had his grandfather, but Rowan wanted something more. He was tired of fixing things that richer people would simply replace. Then the new mountain road opened. For the first time, wagons could travel directly from the distant cities. The whole village gathered when the merchants arrived. They brought mirrors that caught the sunlight, bright cloth, glass lanterns, metal stoves, clocks, painted dishes, and mechanical toys. Children ran beside the wagons. The adults stared with just as much excitement. And some of these new things really did make life better. Better tools made work easier. New medicines helped the sick. Rowan loved it all. One merchant noticed. You know everyone here? Almost. Then help me sell. At first, Rowan sold people things they actually needed, but eventually everyone who needed a stove had one. Everyone who needed a new tool had bought it. Sales slowed. One afternoon, the merchant watched Rowan repairing an old chair. There's your problem. What? You're waiting for things to break. He placed a beautiful new chair beside the repaired one. Don't wait for people to need something. Teach them to want something. The next morning, Rowan painted a sign. Why keep fixing the past? A woman stopped. She looked at her repaired chair, then at the beautiful new one. She bought the new chair. Within a week, Rowan had sold 12. Soon more signs appeared around the village. New is better. You deserve more. Don't be left behind. And slowly the village began to change. A boy who loved his handmade wooden horse stopped playing with it after his friend received a mechanical toy. A woman hid her repaired shoes beneath her dress when she saw her neighbor's new pair. A farmer replaced a perfectly good table because his brother had bought a larger one. Behind the village, the rubbish pile grew a little bigger with every merchant wagon that arrived. But something more important was disappearing. Families stopped preserving as much food for winter. Gardens became smaller. Why spend weeks storing vegetables when another wagon would arrive next month? The old workshops became quieter too. Why learn how to make something when buying it was easier? Rowan's little repair workshop became a beautiful store. One evening, his mother arrived carrying the old wooden bowl. The crack had opened again. "Can you fix it?" Rowan was preparing for his store's grand opening. He barely looked up. "Mother, those bowls cost almost nothing now. Just buy another." "But this one, I don't have time." After she left, Rowan noticed the bowl still sitting on his workbench. He dropped it into a rubbish cart. It rolled past discarded shoes, pots, and tools before disappearing into the growing pile. Months passed. The rubbish hill became a mountain, and Rowan became wealthy. Ben stopped repairing shoes and began selling imported ones. The blacksmith stopped taking apprentices. Young people no longer wanted to learn the old trades. At the harvest festival, hundreds of glass lanterns lit the village square. Rowan unveiled his greatest purchase yet, a huge mechanical clock. The crowd applauded as its golden hands began to move. Then an old woman came through the crowd carrying part of a grain mill. "Rowan," he turned, "my mill has broken." Rowan examined it. "I haven't repaired one of these in years. Can you try? The merchants sell better ones now." "I can't afford one." Rowan looked toward the celebrating crowd. "I'm sorry." That night, heavy rain struck the mountains. Then a terrible sound rolled across the valley. The mountain moved. By morning, an entire section of the new road had disappeared beneath rock and mud. "No problem," Rowan told everyone. "They'll clear it." Days passed, then weeks. No wagons came. Soon a stove broke, and nobody could repair it. Then the water pump failed. A farmer snapped a tool and found the blacksmith's old workshop empty. Shoes split, hinges broke, winter winds tore tiles from roofs, and the gardens that once helped feed the village were smaller now. The storerooms that once held food for winter were nearly empty. Everyone had planned for the next wagon. Nobody had planned for a winter without one. Their houses were filled with beautiful things, but the things they truly needed were becoming harder to find. Food began running low. People carried coins into Rowan's store, but there was almost nothing useful left to buy. For the first time, their money could not give them what they needed. One morning, a farmer entered and placed a broken harvesting tool before Rowan. "Fix it." Rowan stared at it. Once, his hands would have known what to do. Now they didn't. "I can't." The farmer looked around at Rowan's beautiful store. He said nothing. He picked up his broken tool and walked away. That evening, Rowan went to the rubbish mountain. Snow was beginning to fall. He climbed slowly through years of discarded things. Under a broken chair, he found a hand drill. Farther up, an old cooking pot. Then a loom frame, a box of hinges, the wooden horse. Things people had once depended on. Things they had thrown away while they still worked. Then his foot struck something. A wooden bowl rolled from beneath a pile of cloth. Rowan picked it up. The crack was still there. So was the repair he had made years ago. He brushed away the dirt. Nearby, half buried beneath discarded furniture, he saw a wooden toolbox. His father's toolbox. Rowan pulled it free. For years, he had thought the village was getting richer. Now he stood on a mountain built from everything they had stopped valuing. The next morning, villagers gathered outside Rowan's warehouse. Another storm was coming, and several roofs needed urgent repairs. Inside the warehouse were expensive tables, cabinets, shelves, and decorative panels. If Rowan protected them until spring, he could sell them and rebuild his business. Then he noticed the farmer's broken tool beside the door. Rowan picked up an axe. Everyone stepped back. He walked to the most expensive table in the warehouse. He swung. The polished wood cracked. He swung again. Then Rowan pulled free a long piece of timber. "Take this to the damaged roofs." Nobody moved at first. Rowan opened the warehouse doors. "Bring me everything that's broken." Soon the whole village became a workshop. Ben showed children how to stitch leather again. A farmer taught young men how to shape wooden handles. People recovered nails and hinges from the rubbish mountain. Old cloth helped keep out the winter wind. Broken cabinets became roof supports. Old metal was shaped into brackets and hinges. The mountain created by their waste slowly began giving things back. Rowan opened his father's toolbox. The broken harvesting tool was waiting. His first repair failed. The second one failed too. He wanted to give up, but instead he started again. Hours later, the mechanism finally moved. The farmer tested it. Then he looked at Rowan. There was no speech, no applause. He simply carried the tool back to work. Winter passed. In spring, workers finally reopened the mountain road. One morning, bells echoed through the valley. The merchant wagons were returning. The merchants expected a celebration. Instead, they found a village that had changed. People still bought medicine, books, useful tools, and things they couldn't make themselves. But beside a merchant selling shiny new shoes, Ben had reopened his repair bench. Across the street, someone was fixing an old chair. Nobody laughed anymore. Rowan reopened his workshop too. One afternoon, a little girl came inside carrying the old wooden bowl. Rowan had repaired it again. She ran her finger across the crack. "Why didn't you make this disappear?" Rowan looked at the bowl. "It doesn't need to be new to be useful." The girl smiled and carried it home. As the village found its balance again, Rowan finally understood what he had missed for years. There was nothing wrong with wanting a better life. The mistake was believing that a better life always meant having more. Centuries ago, Thiruvalluvar captured this truth in Thirukkural, which states that when we stop always wanting more, we learn to be happy with what is enough. The villagers had filled their homes with new things, yet they kept feeling that something was missing. Their mistake was never buying new things. It was forgetting when to stop wanting more, because there is no final purchase for a person who has forgotten how to feel satisfied. Outside Rowan's workshop, merchant wagons continued along the open road, and beyond them, grass had begun growing over the old mountain of discarded things. Perhaps that leaves us with one question. Is there something in your life that was enough until comparison told you it wasn't? Share your answer in the comments. And if this story gave you something worth carrying with you, like it and subscribe to Mindful Wisdom Weavers for more stories inspired by timeless wisdom.